Good morning, sir. Global News. My question is to do with a terror attack plotted in Toronto. And one of the two men charged with plotting the terror attack in Toronto, he came to Canada from abroad and became a citizen after he's alleged to have appeared in an ISIS video dismembering a prisoner of ISIS. Would you dedicate more resources to security screening in the immigration and citizenship system?
Yes. Justin Trudeau spends our resources trying to ban plastic straws and hunting rifles while he opens our borders up to potential terrorists and other security risks. We have, in this case, an alleged ISIS terrorist who seems to have appeared in a video mutilating another human being, cutting another human being to pieces on a crucifix in the Middle East, and then this person who allegedly did this act was granted access to this country and has been newly charged with another alleged terrorist offense on our soil. Justin Trudeau is not worth the risk and the danger. His radical, reckless policies are putting Canadian lives at risk. A Poilievre-led, common-sense Conservative government will secure our borders to keep the terrorists out and keep our nation strong and free. Thank you very much. All right.
One of the two men charged with plotting the terror attack in Toronto came to Canada from abroad and became a Canadian citizen after allegedly appearing in an ISIS video dismembering a prisoner. Can you tell us when and how he came to Canada?
This is obviously a very serious situation that the Minister of Public Safety is ensuring there are a full follow-up and understanding on exactly how this happened. I know investigations are ongoing, and the Minister will share all that we learned in the appropriate moment. But we're taking this extremely seriously because Canadians need to have confidence in our immigration system and on the millions of people who've come here over the past years to build a better life for themselves and their future. We need to make sure everything is done to keep Canadians safe.
Is the issue that you are not sure as to how this person came to Canada, or just not willing to share at this point what you know?
We are proceeding in a proper and thorough investigation on exactly how this happened, and we will share with Canadians at the appropriate moment.
The Communist Party in Beijing, which Justin Trudeau says he admires so much, is exploiting weak labor and environmental standards to produce artificially cheap steel, aluminum, and EVs that create more pollution. They have stolen technology from Western countries, limited access to global supply chains, and have massively subsidized steel, aluminum, and EV industries. They're doing this with the goal of crushing our steel, our aluminum, and our automotive production and taking our jobs away. Trudeau has failed to protect our workers against this economic predation. In fact, he's refused to match U.S. tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. The U.S. first introduced tariffs to counteract Chinese-made vehicles years ago, and other tariffs have now been in place for 6 years. Meanwhile, Trudeau has done nothing to protect our workers and our jobs. Worse than that, this is where it gets really crazy. He's giving out rebates for people to buy Chinese-made cars. So let's get this straight. Justin Trudeau and sellout Singh want to give taxpayer-funded subsidies for buying Chinese-made cars while they impose tax penalties on the manufacturing of Canadian-made cars. No wonder hundreds of billions of dollars have left our country and are creating jobs in other countries. Canada's workers are the best in the world. They deserve powerful paychecks and a Prime Minister who will protect them. Rather than allowing authoritarian overseas governments to steal our jobs with their low labor standards and poor environmental policies, we're going to bring home those paychecks to Canada. Bring home our jobs. Thank you. And that is why common sense Conservatives are calling for the introduction of a 100% tariff on made-in-China EVs entering Canada. 2, a 50% tariff on semiconductors and solar cells. 3, a 25% tariff on steel and aluminum, graphite, and other critical minerals, EV batteries, battery parts, permanent magnets, and ship-to-shore cranes. And 4, the cancellation of taxpayer-funded rebates for Chinese-made vehicles.
Last week, steel and aluminum CEOs and opposition leader Pierre called for the federal government to match the U.S.'s tariffs on China. Why has Canada not moved on this yet?
Well, first of all, it's a bit of a joke that Poilievre is suddenly talking about workers in the auto industry. He has said repeatedly that he wouldn't be making these investments in our auto industry. He wouldn't have invested. He'd be cutting our investments in EVs, in building an extraordinary EV supply chain in Canada, something that we've been doing as a government in partnership with the Government of Ontario and others right across the country over the past 4 years in a deliberate strategy. Bring in Volkswagen, bring in Stellantis, invest in Honda, invest in the EV supply chain from mines to manufacturing and recycling. We have been there every step of the way, and the federal Conservatives continue to say they'd cut it all. They don't support it. They don't believe in investing in Canadian workers. So him to suddenly turn around and say, oh, we're worried about EVs, that's baloney. He's looking for a political angle because that's all he does. But in regards to the CEOs and the steel manufacturers and partners in the industry, I can tell you, for the past many months, we, alongside Minister Mary Ng, our Minister of Trade, have been working with stakeholders, working with community groups, working with international partners on making sure that Canada's EV advantage remains. Canadians have invested in this future, and we're going to make sure that we follow through on it. So Poilievre jumping in front of the parade or trying to is just silly. We have stood up for Canadian workers in the auto sector. We will continue to stand up for Canadian workers in the auto sector. We will continue to make sure that we're using all necessary tools to drive a greener, cleaner economy, which means great manufacturing jobs here in Canada, more opportunities for Canadians. This is a conversation that we've been having for months, and we will continue to have to make sure these investments we're making that Poilievre would cut are well protected for the future.